Hi, this is Sue with Sue's Mobile Notary Services. Today we want to address a few simple questions that are normally asked in any type of signing, whether it is just one piece of paper that I need to notarize or it's documents that I need to notarize. And so Wendy here is going to ask the questions of what's normally asked of me in an actual signing.
Well, Sue, my first question is, what is actually considered valid identification?
A valid identification in the state of Washington must have the bearer's date of birth, the bearer's signature, except for U.S. military, a photograph of the bearer. Types of acceptable documentation is a driver's license, instruction permit, ID card issued by any U.S. territory or District of Columbia. Important information has changed on the newer driver's license, so we need to be careful with that. Valid Washington State temporary driver's license are acceptable. U.S. Armed Forces cards are acceptable. Merchant Marine cards are acceptable. Official passport with photographs is acceptable. And Washington State tribal enrollment cards are acceptable.
Okay, so how long do the signings usually take?
Well, Wendy, that generally is built upon how many documents I'm signing. Of course, if it's just a transfer title, that's one piece of paper. It could take 5 minutes. If we're talking about loan documents, though, however, sometimes those can run up to 300 pages, and you have to initial and sign a lot of those documents, so that could possibly take an hour.
Okay. Question, are you able to provide legal opinions or legal advice on any of the documentation?
The simple answer for that is no. I'm sorry, I cannot. We're at the site to notarize your signature only. If you have specific questions, I can show you in the document probably where the answer is to your specific question.
Okay.
Or at the end, we can take a note and I'll either refer you back to a site that can give you the answer, the title company can give you the answer, or possibly your loan officer, depending on the document.
Okay. So what is it that actually qualifies you as a certified signing agent?
As a certified signing agent, of course, I had to apply for a license within the state of Washington. And then I applied for, with the National Notary Association, to become a certified signing agent, in which you have to take a class and pass a test. In addition to that, you have to pass a background screen, which I've had.
Awesome. So as far as me, what other documentation or items do I need?
Well, of course, if it's a title transfer for the car, I need you to bring the title transfer to me. If it's loan documentation, you could have conditions that we need to supply back to the lender. And if it's in a purchase transaction, you might have a check that you need to bring in. Of course, you will have a check that you need to bring in.
Okay.
And it might also be in a refinance transaction.
Okay. So once I sign the mortgage loan documentation, what happens?
What actually happens for me is I take certain documents and I send those back to the lender in terms of I photocopy them and send them back, and then I send the original package to them overnight. I provide the title company with the documents they need to do the recording, and when that's done, they will notify you that the transaction is complete.
Nice. Get started.
Great.